Welcome to the shop. Hope you're having a great day. Alright, it's time to get handles on these bad boys, but that's for next video. I'm gonna shoot it tonight, but I'm just stalling because I'll be honest with you. When it comes to fixed blades, I really hate doing handles. Every part of handles, whether it's carbon fiber or wood, they're either just a mess that make you all itchy. It's just, what a pain in the butt. I was thinking about doing carbon fiber, but I'm gonna put this on hold. Because, man, I just don't feel like being itchy tonight. And it's funny because the lady that helps with my mom also helps clean the house because I'm such a slob. And every time I do carbon fiber, I wear the same pants. And she picked them up and put them in the laundry room. After she finished cleaning the basement, she came up and she's like, man, I'm all itchy. Do you have fiberglass down here or something? And I didn't realize it until I saw my pants laying in the laundry room. I was like, you didn't touch those, did you? It's like, oh, man. Yeah, it's carbon fiber, so. But anyway, I digress. I figured I'd just sit here and tell you a few stories about why I got into knife making and all that. But first, remember I got these knives, folders, and stuff up on my website, and I'll put it up in the cards. It's the first down in the description. Amazon links are down there, and yeah, let's just get to it. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. First off, I remember when I used to watch Ecom Knives all the time. He used to do these like Q&A things where people would leave comments and ask him questions about knife making and stuff like that, or what he prefers, and just anything related to knife making. And I think I'm going to do that. I would call it stealing from him, but I'm giving him credit for the idea here. So, yeah, leave questions about knife making, or if you're having problems or just have that little hump you can't get over, maybe I can help. I'll try my best. I always did like those Q&A things. And don't ask about my arm. Just make sure all your friends subscribe, because at 5K subs, I'm going to tell the whole story. Everything behind my arm, everything about it. And I might break down a few times, have to cut and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a pretty, it's one hell of a story, I'll tell you that. I figured I'd kind of go into detail about why I became a knife maker and what actually got me into knives. YouTube mainly happened because I wanted to get all my music out there. That's why in my old videos the music's so loud and all that, and I finally learned how to edit and put the music behind what I'm doing instead of in front of it. I figure if I cram my music down people's throat, the more they listen to it, the more they get used to it. Because you know how when a new song comes out, you might not really like it, but after hearing it a few times, all of a sudden it grows on you. Which is one thing that's horrible about being a musician, because I don't have new ears to my music. So my music all sounds good to me because I've heard it a million times as I was writing it. But I digress. Let's get on to the knife making part. So in 2015, I had to have open heart surgery. Not because my heart was failing or I had a heart attack or anything like that, but an infection from my arm went into my bloodstream and started infecting the aorta of my heart. And I got real sick. I mean, real sick. And me being as stubborn as I am, it took me like 2 weeks to go to the hospital. And by that time, they were like, yeah, you need open heart surgery. I'll tell you what, going into surgery, I wasn't too worried. You know, at that time, I really had no inspiration in life, and I had really nothing going for me. I had kind of settled. And that kind of all ties to my arm and my past and all that, and a lot of things that I'll go over at 5K. I wasn't really worried about dying. I figured if it was my time, it was my time. And, but afterwards, man, I never felt more helpless or more weak in my life. So it kind of opened my eyes. It was like one of the worst things that ever happened, but probably the best thing that ever happened, because, man, it just made me realize what life is worth. I'll tell you, it takes something like that to put life into perspective, and man, give you appreciation, because man, I've lived a pretty crazy life. I've always been the real impulsive one. People are like, hey, let's go to the beach. We got $100. You know, that's enough for gas there and a little bit of food and gas back. You know, you don't care. You sleep in your car, you sleep on the beach, get kicked off the beach in the morning when the things come. You know, That's how life was for me, most of my life. Hey, let's do it. All right, who wants to plan it? Let's just go. So, but once you wake up and have something like that, bam. So, my first instinct when I started getting healthier and working out, because I was in like a rehab center for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and all I did was walk and try to work out and started getting in shape a little bit. When I wanted to go to like welding school. So my mom was like, man, you know, I can flip the bill for welding school and then you can pay me back. But my friend, he was into knives. He was into like DB blades and dirty room knives. He was buying all these fixed blades and stuff from YouTubers. And I saw him getting into all these knives and stuff, and I was like, man, we could do that. We could make knives. So I went to Home Depot and Harbor Freight. I bought a 1x30 and I bought a piece of mild steel from Home Depot. I didn't have any idea you needed 1095 or 1084. I didn't know you needed high carbon steel, any of that. In fact, I hung it on the wall right here. This is a piece of mild steel, the first thing I ever made. Now, I didn't cut this out. I think I needed that for something else, but so if you're worried about your grinds, that's the first grinds I ever did on a 1x30. So as time went by, I was like, man, I can't do this on a 1x30, which I could have. I just was too impatient. So I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, instead of sending me to welding school, will you buy me a KMG grinder? And it's been all downhill since then. Woo, man. Then the YouTube thing started happening, and man, whew, I had to go get another drink. Man, my throat's all sore from me screaming. People ask me why I scream and yell. I'm just so used to singing. Well, I wouldn't call it singing, but, you know, when I do my music, I have a loud voice, and I'm just used to projecting. I can't talk softly. I've said that plenty of times before. But as far as the YouTube, you know, if you guys can't tell by now, I get obsessed over things real easy, and I get real driven and really put everything into anything I do. You know, it doesn't matter if it's folders, knives. Now I'm playing drums. I play drums 2 hours a day, or working out, yoga, anything like that. Anything I have a little bit of interest in becomes a big interest. So when I started doing YouTube, mainly it was to track my progression, to see how, oh man, you know, I started here and now I'm here after 6 months or whatever. And when I started that, I didn't even know how to run a camera. I knew a little bit of editing from putting together songs and matching up pictures and stuff to my songs and writing out lyrics and all that stuff. But I didn't know anything about cameras, so I bought a camcorder and I had old phones, 2 or 3 old phones that I used. If you go back and look at the old videos, the music's too loud and the video quality is horrible. But I fell in love with it. And I started getting a little bit better at knife making, you know. Any piece of steel I find, I turn it into a knife and I learn how to grind, and I just grind bevels after bevel after bevel. I said years ago, if I could just grind bevels on knives and be finished with them, I'd be the happiest camper in the world. And as I started getting better at knife making and stuff like that, I realized a lot of the tutorials out there skim over how to make knives, but they want to cut out a lot of the fat, and the important parts are the little details. So that's why I started making tutorials, to put in the details that other people leave out. You know, to focus on a lot of the things that a lot of people cut out. I'll tell you what, I've always been good in front of a camera, so that's not been a problem. But man, knife making, you know, the trick about knife making is you just gotta stick with it. You're gonna mess up, you're gonna have problems, you're gonna have all kinds of things that just are discouraging. Believe me, my friend that got me into it, he never made a knife either, but he'd come over and grind knives, and his grinding was 10 times better than me because he had patience and would just sit there and take his time to learn it. Me, I wanted to know it now. You know, I'm one of those aggressive people that just keep going, keep failing, and it'll come eventually. So it took years and years, but hey, I'm getting there. I still find myself having problems here and there, but whew, man, It's been a fun ride, and I'll tell you what, a funny thing about knife making, I didn't even really like fixed blades. I've never been a fixed blade guy, and the more I made them, the more they grew on me. Right after I started making maybe like 10 knives, I bought parts. A lot of the parts that are in these knives, I bought 5 years ago because I was like, I'm making folders. And then I realized how hard fixed blades were to make, and yeah, it took me up to last year to finally make a folder and take the plunge. You know, I just scared myself and psyched myself out, and I was too scared to fail, but man, it's like anything. You just have to keep failing, and man, keep at it. I'll tell you, there are people out there that succeed right off the bat, but you know, they usually get bored. I gotta put this down. They usually get bored with it and quit because it's too easy. Well, I guess I'm gonna cut it there. I've stalled enough. Time to set up the cameras and get on these. I'm gonna do desert ironwood. I just sold a Warren Cliff blade with the snakewood handles, which I think snakewood's probably my favorite kind of wood. And like I said, I don't feel like getting all itchy with carbon fiber. I don't think I've ever used desert iron. I think maybe I have. I don't know. I forget. I think I'm thinking of Coca-Cola. But yeah, so desert ironwood it is. It's time to make a mess. I'm going to cut this off and start the intro to the other one. So next week when you see the new video come out, you'll know that's why I have the same shirt on. Remember, I'll put my website up in the cards. It's the first down in the description. Make sure to ask me some questions. Let me know what's going on. Or if you got any problems with knife making that you need to overcome, I'll try to help out. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Let's see what else is there. I put the full guide to knife making right here, and my website's right here. I think YouTube changed the way the outros go because I noticed things aren't showing up as much. So website here, the full guide's right there. As always, take it easy.